Welcome back to another video. I'm gonna just start this video off by saying I need anyone watching to just ignore the state of me / my hair today. I have not been feeling well today. So I woke up this morning and literally as I went to get out of bed, I can't remember what those things are called that you play on as a kid. Like they're like little roundabouts that you push your friends around on when you're a kid and like you push them really fast. Can't remember the actual name of them for kids, but like hopefully you guys know what I mean. Basically, this story's going somewhere. I woke up this morning and as I went to get up, I felt like I'd been pushed on one of those for like an hour and I literally was like about to topple over as soon as I went to get out of bed this morning. And I was just incredibly lightheaded for ages. So I forced myself up really carefully, like took a shower and stuff and just kept going really lightheaded for ages. Got myself some breakfast and I was just, it was bad. Like I felt really rough all day and I'm not too sure why. I was hoping it was just a thing of like, I was over hungry because I ate my last meal fairly early yesterday. Although I had a shake and some fruit after training, I did eat my last meal at like 3 or 4 yesterday. And then I just had the shake and fruit at like 8 o'clock last night after training. So I thought maybe it was that, but then I ate breakfast and I actually felt worse. So I chucked my hair up in like a Miss Trunchbull style bun when it was still damp. And it's just gone kind of everywhere basically because I just went and laid on the sofa and I literally went to sleep once I managed to get Zuko to like calm down for like 5 more hours. I mean, I was up early this morning as well, so I was tired from that generally, but I literally laid on our sofa and I was out for 5 hours. And I mean like out, not like lazy dozing. I mean completely deep sleep for 5 hours, which just never, like, I'm not like that normally. So I was not feeling well. I mean, I'm still not feeling great. I'm not gonna lie. Probably not the wisest thing training tonight, but generally I do train when I'm unwell anyway. My rule of thumb is as long as someone is home so that if I start to feel rough, I can be like, please come make sure I'm okay / you know, make sure I don't die. I will still try. So I'm still gonna try today. I've been very good with meal timings today in that I've made sure to time, I had a meal and then I had my pre-workout, like high carb meal within like half an hour of each other. And it's been another half an hour to make me as kind of full as possible, considering the calories I'm on for this session, because I think that will help with my overall energy, especially because it is an SBD day. Thankfully, it's only squats that are gonna be like quite a lot of work. Bench is super light, it's just 5s to 85, just 3 sets. And then deadlifts, I think it's pause doubles at 150, which is pretty comfortable for me. So kind of, I'm telling myself, as long as I get through squats, I'll be good, because the rest I can literally do in like 20 minutes. So I just need to kind of have enough fuel for squats. I do then have accessories to go and do at the gym, which if I'm feeling super rough, I might just leave, because I don't know if I said this last week for this session. So I only have hamstring curl, adductor machine, and then weighted planks on this day as my accessories, but generally I go to the gym and do cardio as well, so it works out fine. But last week, the leg curl and the adductor machine were both out of use, so we drove to the gym for them to be out of use. So we still did cardio, and I actually stretched as well that session, did my weighted planks and stuff as well. But it was a bit of a wasted journey, so I actually forgot to look last night if they're back in use yet or not. There is a second leg curl that I can use, but with my glute hamstring issue I've been doing tempo, like super, super light, but like tempo both ways on the ascent and descent. And that seems to be the only thing that I can do to really stimulate my hamstrings without causing more irritation. And I'm just doing them with like 15, 20 kilos on the machine. But the only other leg curl machine at the gym is a plate loaded one, which even without any weight on is too heavy for what I'm trying to do. So yeah, I'm hoping they're in use, like they're able to be used tonight, or I'm going to be very upset that I've wasted this journey. But having said that, if I feel really rough at the end of this session, I think I'll leave those for today, because it won't be the end of the world. But we'll just sort of see. I'm hoping I feel all right. But I don't even know how to explain how I'm feeling. Like I'm just feeling off. I walked Zuko this afternoon, just so I needed to get some fresh air, and also he did need another walk. My boyfriend walked him first thing this morning, but it was like, I think I did about 35, 40 minutes maximum. We normally do like at least an hour. And I was going so lightheaded, like I literally don't think I could have walked more than that. So something's definitely not right. And I did feel like last night when I messaged Lewis for so Monday's video was yesterday's session. And for my secondary bench, my bench felt fine, but I did feel like by my final set of Larson, energy was dropping a little bit. But then when I went to the gym to do my accessories, like my first accessory when I get there is dumbbell chest press, which I love doing. Like it's one of my favorite movements. And I had like no power. Like I felt really weak on them. And I was like, is this the deficit finally having an impact on my training, as much as I've trying to be in denial about it all? I was like, maybe this is the actual effects of the deficit impacting me. And I actually said that to Lewis. And then the rest of my accessories, though, I felt fine. So I don't think it was that. And then waking up how I felt this morning, I was like, okay, no, I think maybe I am coming down with something / have something. So a little update there for you guys is that I'm not feeling great. All telling you that because my hair is a mess because I literally put it up in a Miss Trunchbull style bun when it was still damp, and I regret doing that because I also washed it this morning, so that's just annoying, and I'm probably going to need to wash it tomorrow. But let's talk about today's session, and then I'm going to talk through something that someone asked me about a few days ago. So today's session, I have got 2 squat triples, one at 150, one at 160, so they're set loads. Then I've got descending 7s, which is not going to be fun with how I feel today. RP6, RP5, RP4. Last week I did 142. I was hoping to do 150 this week because I think that should be pretty comfortable. I can definitely do 150 for 7 at an RP of 6. However, with how I'm feeling, we'll just kind of see. Maybe I'll do like 145, 147, and then push it next week. Hopefully I'll be feeling a bit healthier, and then just lose like 10 kilos on each set from there, roughly, probably. So that'll be fine. 3x5 on bench at 85, and then 4x2 paused sumo at 150. So once I get through squats, even to be honest, once I get through my first set of 7 on squats, I'll be good. And I don't know how to explain how I feel. I'm not even going to try. I just feel weird. And I'm just mildly concerned how this session is going to go. And I don't want to make myself feel worse either. But it's fine. I'm just not like, no matter if I'm on like death's door, I will still push myself to train, which is why like, I'm not someone that really takes sick days from work or anything, like I never really have in like previous jobs and stuff, because I'm just like, I know I need to train. So in my head, like my parents kind of, especially my dad, ingrained in me when I was a kid, like if you're too sick to go to school, you're too sick to go to the gym. If you're too sick to go to work, you're too sick to go to the gym. You're too sick to do the things that you enjoy if you're too sick to work. And that's something that's always stuck in my head. And so like, yeah, I mean, to be fair, I did still do like obviously coaching stuff today. I literally just did my replies once I finally woke up. I think it was like 1 o'clock. I woke up about 11:30 because I got up really early this morning. And then I had some lunch and stuff, chilled out for a bit. Then it was about 1 o'clock and I was like, right, I need to get some work done. And normally I have a rule where I only really do coaching work in my office just to kind of separate things. The only thing I'll do in the living room is, or like in another room or somewhere else, is on my laptop. I'll do like content and create like posts and stuff. And like edit YouTube videos and stuff I normally do on the sofa as well. But I was like, actually, no, today, do you know what? I'll use my laptop to kind of adjust people's programs as I'm going through the replies on my phone. So I just did that from the sofa, which was actually really nice to do today. I did have quite a lot to go through as well, so I did a few hours of that, but it's all good. It is currently, I don't think I've said the time, it's 5:30 now, so it's not too late of a session, because I think last week I did this session in like an hour. I am going to take things slower today, obviously, understandably. But yeah, anyway, someone sent me a question, and I thought, I'll talk about this in a video. So I had someone message me the other day that is, I don't know how long they've actually been powerlifting. I think they're quite young. But they basically just reached out to my Instagram and were like, hey, like, I just wanted to ask, I've got aspirations of making a career out of powerlifting and strength coaching, and I just kind of wanted to ask for some advice on where I should start. They already said their plan is to start kind of coaching mates for free. And do I have any advice on powerlifting coaching, programming, starting a coaching business in general? And I was like, this is definitely something I can kind of speak about in a video, because I try and make some kind of informative topics in these videos, and I've been slacking on that lately. But I said, well, one of the first things that I think of when people ask me this question, which I actually forgot to say to him originally, if you are already coaching and you're trying to establish yourself more, never neglect how important it is to just be seen. Even if you're trying to make it as like a top level coach, being seen and known within either your region or your country within powerlifting is so important. So like myself, for example, as soon as I started refereeing, people started to see me as a coach more. And I mean, I was already around a lot as an athlete anyway, but when I started refereeing, people started to see that I was at meets more, I was volunteering more. And it's gotten to the point where, I mean, I have slacked on it a little bit the last few months just because general life outside of work has been quite busy. But make yourself seen at competitions. Start locally, start with your region, start in your local area, volunteer at meets. Doesn't matter what role, whether it's table, whether you're just there as a runner, just running backwards and forwards, communicating for the meet hosts and stuff. Whatever it is, if it's refereeing, if it's spotting and loading, whatever you're comfortable doing, do that. Like, make yourself a presence within your local area. From there as well, like volunteering at national meets is also really good because it just makes you a familiar, friendly face and someone that people know is approachable. And then when people are like, who's that volunteer? And they're like, for me, like, it's Sean, she's a coach, like she volunteers at meets quite a lot and like she goes around to help out. Like the amount of people that have reached out to me for coaching or nutrition inquiries or like mentorship calls and stuff that have met me at powerlifting meets, just from when like, even when my lifters are competing, if my lifters are competing and I'm there for their weigh-ins, which I generally try to do, but they're kind of sorted, like whatever, they don't need me with them at that moment, I will go to the platform and I will just help out with rack heights if there's not volunteers there doing that yet. Like I'll just jump in and help, or even if there is one volunteer, I'll jump on and help as well. And then you meet so many people. You also give back to your local region / national like region, depending on when you're helping. And I think volunteering is a massively underrated tool to help you grow your business, which I spoke about this on a podcast that's not actually out at the time of filming this. Or not yet, it's not out yet. It won't be out until the end of Feb. But one thing we spoke about was like, it sounds selfish saying volunteer to grow your business. And there is a selfish element to it. But at the end of the day, you're still being selfish because you are giving back to your region. And also, it's fun helping out at meets and meeting new people. And it also makes you a more competent coach, because the more you know about the ins and outs of a meet, and let's say something's not going right at one of your lifters' competitions, when you're experienced with being involved in meets and being around them, you know who to go to ask, and you're then much better at staying calm if things aren't quite going as they should be throughout the day. And I think that's a really great tool. But there were some other points, and I haven't, as you can probably tell, I haven't planned this segment. I'm just going to talk at the camera. But some other bits of advice people that maybe wanted to know, in terms of learning, like you can just research stuff all the time, right? Like be a sponge. There's loads of coaches now put out informative content on Instagram, which is great. I'm not really a fan of short form content. I've said this so many times. I prefer like longer form content, and there's quite a lot of coaches that will make YouTube videos, or lifters that document their YouTube as well. Podcasts are great, even if they're not specifically like about programming. Like the amount I learned from binging like King of the Lifts from like the last 4 years, well, it was a few years ago that I did this, but like when I was like really back into coaching fully, I think like 2021 time, I'd kind of not fallen off. I was still coaching a few friends and like local lifters and stuff at this point. But I was then in the point where I was like, no, I really want to, this is what I want to do long term. And I remember just binge listening to loads of like old King of the Lifts, RTS podcasts, stuff like that. And hearing coaches on there talk about their principles, how they coach people, what they do and their methods, but also hearing lifters talk about how they approach things gives you so much information. I just had like the worst coughing fit, so let's excuse the state of me, and my eyes are like pouring with water now. But yeah, basically be an information sponge, absorb everything you find, and you'll know if this is something you're passionate about because you will just start absorbing things. Pay attention to what athletes say about what they're doing and how they mentally approach things, because that is going to help you when you're dealing with your athletes. And yeah, there's so many elements that you can learn from outside of just like looking up specific programming things, but also Google stuff. A lot of stuff you'll find will be like very old school types of powerlifting coaching, but you can look at that and you can learn things from, like you can learn from anything essentially, and you just need to find things to keep learning from. But on the learning front as well, I think it's really important to try and have some kind of network of coaches that you can reach out to, whether that's your own coach that you ask questions. Like, don't be afraid to ask your coach why they're doing things, why they're making X changes, why changes. Like, I generally explain these things to my clients anyway every time I make a change, and kind of justify why and explain to them what I'm trying to achieve from it. But if your coach maybe isn't doing that so much, or if you have further questions, don't feel like you can't ask, because that's going to also teach you so much as well. So ask lots of questions, try and build a bit of a network of coaches that you can ask questions to as well, which is also where volunteering and stuff is great, because it will help you meet more people and it will give you a chance to network with people and build relationships with people that you then can ask questions later down the line. But yeah, try and basically just build connections with people so that if you ever come across things which you're going to that you're not sure on, you can ask people about it that you trust. What else did I say? I also said about the importance of structure. Having some level of structure, like when you first start, this isn't as important, but I think with how professional coaching is becoming, although I've got a side tangent on that to go into in a second, with how professional coaching is becoming, I think it's really good for you and for your clients to have some level of structure in terms of things like when they can expect their program to be updated, how they can expect their programs to be updated. Like I use a free version of Loom, and I will go through, and I know like my coach does this as well, and other coaches do this, where it's like, I'll write up your program and I will send you a screen recording with me basically explaining what we're doing, what changes I've made, what I hope to get from it, what I'd like to aim for end of block if that's something that we're discussing, and things like that, and breaking down the program and stuff. Like if that's something that you're going to offer, I think deciding that quite early on, but also in terms, that's not actually what I was going to say, in terms of structure, things like your response times, I think are just really important to set those from day one. And I said to this person specifically, do not fall into the trap that so many of us used to and still do, where you feel like you have to offer 24-hour response times. It's fine if you want to do that, but if you are going to do that, I think you also need to say, except for, I don't know, I have a Sunday off, I have a Saturday off, I have a Wednesday off. Like, make it clear that you're not available 24/7, because you shouldn't need to be, because you want to teach your lifters autonomy and how to make their own decisions, and you are there for support and for help. And if something obviously does go wrong, it's good to be available to your clients, but equally it's also good to teach them not to rely on you all the time, because what happens if you take annual leave, or if you go somewhere you don't have any signal? Like, these are things that can happen. You don't want to then be panicking about the fact that your lifters can't contact you. If you're on a date night with your partner, or a date night in general, if you're going for a family meal, you want to be able to say, to switch off. And I think offering constant reply times is quite a negative thing in the long run. I've had lifters come to me, like multiple come to me, from coaches that literally are on their phone 24/7, no matter the time of day. And then when they first come to me, they find it like it's a good adjustment, but they find it a hard adjustment, because I'm not going to be there every single time to tell them if they've hit their RPE perfectly, if they should go up, if they should call it there, if they should, like what they should do. I want them to learn to make those decisions themselves. And I will say, when people come to me and that is the experience they've got from their previous coach, I will consciously make myself more readily available for them for their first few weeks with me. But it will be to teach them to then make those choices on their own. And within a block or two, they are then capable of doing that. And that doesn't mean you're not there for support, because you absolutely are. But I think establishing boundaries is important, and response times are a big part of that. So like myself, for example, and I said this to this person, I was like, I quote 72-hour response times to all of my clients, whether you're nutrition or powerlifting. However, it is so rare that will happen. Generally, if the response time is over 24 hours, I'm starting to get a bit antsy, like I need to get this done, and I will pretty much always reply within 24 hours. Maybe at a push, closer to 36, depending on the time of day they've sent stuff through. But generally speaking, every single day, I will sit down and clear my inbox at least once a day, if not twice. And I try and do that kind of midday and evening, or first thing in the morning and evening, depending on how my day is split up. So I think establishing response times is important, and I don't think you should ever fall down that trap of feeling like you have to give 24-hour responses or response times. And if you do give 24-hour response times, then I do think it's important to also just establish a day off somewhere, because the reason I quote 72 hours is because generally I have a Saturday off. Not always, and it's not a set thing. Obviously, my clients that have been with me a while kind of get that they're probably not going to get a reply on a Saturday, but sometimes I decide to work on a Saturday. And if I have like a midweek day, like today I didn't feel great and I did consider having the day off, and I was like, no, do you know what? I feel well enough to sit on my computer and just do some replies. Like, that's not a problem, or sit on my laptop. But it's just important to establish those things. And I think having boundaries, some people work really well with like working hours as well, and establishing times of, right, I work and I reply from 8 in the morning until 6 p.m. or 9 till 6 or something along those lines. And if that's how you want to structure things, that is also absolutely fine. Essentially, as long as you establish those boundaries, you'll be good. Now, I personally am quite flexible in working hours. Mostly I do try and log off and give myself an evening. So most of the time I will be logged off by about 6, sometimes earlier. However, someday, like last Sunday, for example, I decided to train in the morning and do my work after, and it ended up being that I was working from, I think, 3 until 9:30, because I had a lot of programs and stuff to get through, which is totally fine. I don't mind doing that. But generally, I don't reply to people or message people that late. But because I don't have set office hours, that's not going outside of a boundary, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think that's important, and just keep learning. And one of the biggest things that was a bit of a pet peeve of mine for a long time, and a lot of people, I've mentioned this in videos before, like a lot of people around me used to make me feel like I wasn't clever enough to be a coach, which is the dumbest thing ever, especially because they are not clever people. But they used to put me down a lot, and it was a lot of like local lifters that essentially just thought they were better than me. But funnily enough, they've fallen off the face of the earth as I have gotten more successful. So I'm, more comfortable talking about it now. I just want to say, like, it's okay to not know something, firstly, and don't doubt yourself. Like, Don't doubt your abilities. It's okay to question if something's right or not, and that's where having a network is great, because if you're unsure, the best thing you can do is admit that you're unsure and ask for help, and there is no shame in asking for help. And a lot of people around me used to make me feel like I couldn't ask for help, and I felt like I had to prove that I knew everything, which is just not the case. And don't get me wrong, you can Google most stuff, like, let's be honest, like, especially these days, like with the powerlifting information out there and the sources out there and stuff, like you will be able to find an answer online. But do you know what's so much easier than that? Just asking one of your friends for help, like so much easier. So I just want to say, do not, it's kind of like an imposter syndrome thing, I guess, but just have faith in yourself and don't feel like you can't admit if you don't know something. Because at the end of the day, your job as a coach isn't to be like the knower of all. You don't need to know every single thing there ever was about powerlifting. You don't, but it is important to keep learning. So if there is something you come across that you don't know, no, you should not sit there and say to your lifter, oh, I don't know actually, and leave it at that. You should say, oh, I'm actually not sure, but I will go and find out and get back to you as soon as I can. And then the first thing you then do is reach out to your network or just start researching and find an answer for your lifter as quickly as you can. Like, that is something that I think is really important to get across, is that it's okay to not know, but to go and find out. Like, your job is to go and find out. So I think there was no structure to that, but that is some advice that I would give to newer coaches, basically. Anyway, I've been talking for long enough. I was not going to do a really long talking video because my last video was really long. Not that I've edited it yet, but I remember speaking for ages yesterday. But I need to crack on and get this session done. So let's just see how this goes. I'm going to keep a positive attitude, because a positive attitude can fix anything. Genuinely impressed that I actually just got through that all and nothing was that difficult. After my set of 7 at 147 on squats, so I was fine on my triples. They didn't feel incredible, but they didn't feel terrible. My 147 for 7 was fine. I just had to take it a little bit slow. But I would say it was about an RP6 still. It was just one of those things where I was like, if I rush through this, it's going to be higher than that. But as soon as I finished that set, my energy just crashed. So I only did 135 and then 125 for my next 2 sets of 7. And like, when I tell you my energy was gone, I was staring at 125 on the bar for ages, and I was probably like 2 minutes where I had my belt on, my wrist straps on, and I was just like, do I have to do this? Bear in mind, 125 is literally nothing. Like, my second warm-up on squats is 120. It feels like nothing to me. I just did not have the energy to even go for it. Obviously I did it, and I did everything I needed to, but that's, for context, how exhausted I felt once I'd done my squats, like my heavier squats. But I do think, like, I was telling myself going in, if you get through that first set of 7, you'll be fine. And then it was literally just grunt work from there, and it absolutely was. The 85 sets of 5 on bench were fine. Again, I was just exhausted, like yawning between sets, like just really wanting to just go in and curl up and sleep. And then for deadlifts, I was actually quite happy with how they moved. It felt reasonably heavy, but I feel like pause doubles at 150 is still reasonably heavy for me. But they move really well, move really quickly. My hips aren't moving too much when I initiate the lift now. Like, my wedging is definitely better. And they weren't bad at all. Overall, they were fine. Like, considering how I felt, nothing moved badly. So I'm pretty happy. I then just did some pull down and row that I was supposed to do yesterday at the gym when I went to do my accessories, but it was just so busy I couldn't get on anything. So I was like, right, I'll do that today at home on my cable machine that I've got here. And I also did my planks as well, because I have made the executive decision not to go to the gym right now and do my hamstring curl and adductor machine. Partly because if they're not in use and I've driven all that way there when I feel like this, I will be fuming. But also because they're very minor movements. My hamstring's not feeling great anyway. And I just think the drive there, the drive back, plus doing them is just going to make me feel exhausted. So I basically just did everything I can here. And then I'm just going to go walk Zuko after I've had a protein shake, because I have only saved myself a protein shake, so I've not saved myself any post-workout carbs, which is very bad behaviour of me. But essentially, I'll explain that in a second, but I want to just prioritise pre-workout today because of how things were yesterday and how I felt today. But what I was going to say was my plan is to just go in, have my protein shake, and then just go on a walk with Zuko. My boyfriend's going to come too, just because I don't really want to walk him on my own and then go lightheaded. Not that anything's going to happen, because like he's very set. Like I've walked him before and gone really lightheaded, and I think it was like post-comp once. And like he's a very sweet little dog. Like he knows, like although he loves walking and stuff and he gets really excited, he knows when not to take the piss. Like he's quite good at reading that. But obviously I don't want to be walking him and not feeling great, and I want him to have a really nice walk today. So my boyfriend's going to come as well, and we'll just kind of go walk for a bit of a walk kind of around the estate near us. It's like a 45-minute route, and then if I feel terrible, I can just turn back and come home. Like it's not the end of the world, and he can finish the walk. So thought that probably made more sense, especially because it's now, well, it's 7:30, so that session didn't take me ages, but it definitely took longer than it should have. But I was just kind of taking my time. I did go in for Zuko cuddles before the deadlifts as well, just because I needed to see him. But yeah, I think it's more sensible for me to go for a walk, get my steps in, get some fresh air, and then just come home, shower, and get in bed and just have an early night, because I don't know if this is like the start of a cold or something as well, because I did wake up this morning feeling quite bunged up, and I do feel like I've been very lucky not to catch anything this winter, when I think that was a time where I felt a little bit rough. And like before Christmas, I was dealing with some like medical stuff that I'm still kind of waiting for results on, but like generally I've felt decent in myself recently, but just, yeah, today is just a complete crash. And I have been kind of wondering, is this now going to like catch up with me, this cold flu thing that everyone's been getting? So fingers crossed that's not what it is. But I woke up this morning feeling pretty bunged up, so I wouldn't be too surprised if it's something like that as well. It doesn't really explain like the lightheadedness, but I'm just gonna go with it. But food-wise, I definitely made the right call because I felt good under the bar for squats. Basically yesterday when I was training, although I did actually eat most of my food pre-training yesterday, I saved a little bit for after. I just felt so hungry when I trained that I felt like I had nothing in me. And I was like, I do not want to be doing an SPD session feeling like that. And usually I hate feeling bloated when I lift, especially squatting and deadlifting. But I was like, actually, no, I think tonight I need to feel a bit more bloated. So I had 2 meals really close together before I came, which I think I said earlier. But because I'm doing that, I hadn't got much left to have after because I'm training late. But I couldn't have physically trained earlier, so I had to train late anyway. And like I said earlier, I wanted someone else to be home while I trained as well. So basically, I've just made the decision to not have as much food post-training, and I'm just going to have a protein shake and then just kind of suck it up, basically, because even if that makes you feel a little bit worse again, it's fine. But it's also pretty late, and I don't really want a meal right now because I do still feel quite bloated, which is quite a nice feeling when I'm in this much of a deficit. Little body weight update as well for anyone that wants to know, or that's even still watching at this point, to be fair. It's a lot of talking today. My body weight has stalled, and I am getting frustrated, but logically I know that this is very normal, especially if my body is trying to fight something off. I was 88.3 today, 88.0 yesterday, and I was kind of fluctuating to 87.9 yesterday morning as well, so I was hopeful that I would see an 87 this morning, but it's kind of just gone up a little bit again, which a little bit of fluctuation is normally literally like a pound, so it's not a lot. But I'm hoping over the next few days, if I can get some good rest and fight off whatever is wrong with me, that I will start to see another drop, because I'm going to be quite upset if I haven't dropped any more this week, just because my calories, like I said, are pretty low, and I would expect to drop more, but equally I did drop a kilo last week, so realistically a little bit of stalling isn't going to be that much of a surprise. My nutrition coach is back from annual leave this weekend, so my next check-in is Sunday, well, Monday technically. I'll fill in my form Sunday, so we'll just kind of see what she says, but I'm just going to stick to the plan. I haven't been struggling on these calories, and it's a little bit frustrating because like I refuse to admit defeat with this deficit either. Like this is very low calorie for me, like it is, and that there's no arguing that, but I don't think this is why my training hadn't felt great yesterday / today. I mean, even saying that, my training hasn't been bad. It's week 3, it's pretty heavy loads and nothing felt hard. So training's not even moving badly, but I think like not yesterday, what was it, Sunday when I was squatting, like my belt wasn't quite tight enough, but then I should have just done it up a notch tighter, like that was on me. And then bench didn't quite feel amazing, but equally I did like 112 for a double on Sunday, and that's massive for a week 2. And like my coach was like, do you think it's partly because of the deficit? And I was like, it can't be, like I feel fine. And I am, making an effort to really eat a lot of volume and not let myself get too hungry. And yesterday in the last video I did mention like my sleep was really bad, so yesterday my appetite was super high, which obviously then just made my energy a bit lower in general, and then training felt worse. Whereas today, like Obviously, I felt awful waking up and I felt pretty off all day, but actually considering mentally how I felt for this session as well, like I didn't want to train today, like at all. I squatted 160 for a triple like it was nothing. My warm-ups didn't feel incredible. So there's not really there's nothing to complain about at this point. Like the deficit isn't actually causing any problems. It's literally just, I'm not quite well at the moment. Like I'm a little bit under the weather and something's kind of going on with my body and I just need to kind of stick with it and just keep going. So that's the note we're going to end this video on. Thank you if you've made it to the end. I really appreciate it. Let me know if there's any topics you want me to talk about in these videos. So I do feel like for the last couple of weeks, a lot of it has just kind of been me talking about a load of nothing going on in my life. And that's not overly interesting for people. So if there's any specific things you want to ask or you want me to talk about or make videos on, do let me know in the comments and I will do my best to. But yeah, thank you for making it to the end. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in a few days for the next one.